The shift does not arrive with thunder. It seeps in softly, like mist curling through the corridors of your soul, unnoticed at first, until your breath begins to catch on something invisible, until your thoughts slow for no reason, and your heart flickers like a candle, remembering it is fire. You wake on June 24th, not to an ordinary morning, but to a sacred hush. There is something in the air, heavy and silent and singing. You feel it more than you understand it. A pressure behind your ribs, a softness behind your eyes. It is not pain, but presence. The sun has welcomed Jupiter into its very heart, and the sky has stitched a golden thread into your chest. This is no planetary coincidence. This is cosmic architecture realigning its scaffolding inside of you. The Cazimi is a breath of divinity exhaled into your emotional sky. Jupiter, swollen with wisdom and memory, moves into the exact center of the sun's glow. For one radiant moment, expansion becomes clarity. The divine steps out of abstraction and sits with you at your kitchen table. And even if you do not recognize its face, your nervous system bows in reverence. Your cells whisper, "Something is different now," because it is. This light is not just light. It is a revealer, a purifier, a summons, and it doesn't shout. It seeps. It hums like an old lullaby you didn't know you remembered. It wraps around your fears like silk and whispers, "Let go. I've been waiting for you to feel this." And so you pause, mid-thought. You forget the next task. You look out the window and find yourself searching for something you cannot name. That is the signal arriving. Not through logic, but through feeling. Not with fireworks, but with a shift so subtle it unravels timelines without tearing them. You feel it as restlessness. You feel it as reverence. You feel it as the unspoken sentence forming behind your tongue, the one your soul has been trying to say since before you were born. The signal is not coming, it's here. And your spirit, ancient and weary, recognizes the pattern even if your conscious mind still scrambles for evidence. The air seems to press differently against your skin. People's words echo longer. Silence no longer feels empty, but expectant. And then, another presence arrives. June 25th. The new moon in Cancer does not come like a sunrise. It comes like a womb, dark, sacred, alive. It is not a beginning. It is an unspooling, a dissolving of the noise. It is the first inhale after grief, the return to the room where you once cried and thought no one heard. But the room remembers, and so does the moon. You do not need to start over. You are being pulled back to something more primal, to the heartbeat of origin, to the feeling of being held in a truth deeper than memory. You are not broken. You are pre-language, pre-trauma, pre-performance. You are home. And in that darkness, something begins to awaken. The child you once were stretches in the soft folds of your inner sanctuary. The one who once believed in stars, in softness, in safety, in unconditional return. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering the one who was buried. The moon doesn't speak in sentences. She speaks in tides, in blood, in pulse. She beckons you to rest, not because you are tired, but because you are ready. And still, the portal does not close. June 26th. Mercury shifts forward and touches Uranus, not with noise, but with insight. Suddenly a thought arrives mid-sentence. A dream clings to you all morning like perfume from another world. You write something down and realize it is the answer to a question you didn't know you asked. This is not coincidence. It is alignment. It is a silver key sliding into the lock of your crown. Mercury whispers through intuition, through electric truth, through idea fragments that don't follow logic but burn with resonance. The way goosebumps rise without permission. The way you glance at your phone just before someone texts. The way the air shifts before epiphany. This is a week where the veil thins, not to frighten you, but to remind you that you were never disconnected, only distracted, only surviving, only adapting, and now you are returning to the self that never stopped calling, to the voice beneath your own voice, to the soft signal humming, feel, listen, remember. The cosmos is not asking you to decode this moment. It is asking you to receive it, to let the light do what it came to do, to illuminate the soft hollows of your soul, not to shame them, but to say, look, even this is sacred, even your ache, even your longing, even your pause. Because this light, this convergence of Sun and Jupiter, Moon and memory, Mercury and Uranus, it is not distant, it is within you, it is you, and in this stillness, something begins to stir. And in this stillness, something begins to stir, not loudly, not with drama, but with a quiet ache that builds behind your ribcage like rain gathering in a basin. You do not wake with clarity, you wake with weight. Your dreams dissolve like vapor, but something lingers, an emotion, a flicker, a memory that isn't yours but moves through you as if it belongs. The cosmic signal has passed through, and now the real work begins, not of understanding, but of feeling. You find yourself pausing mid-sentence, reaching for words that evaporate, standing in a room with no idea why you entered it. It's not forgetfulness, it's symbolic shedding. The universe is scrubbing your inner slate, not to erase you, but to make space for the truth that is trying to take root. What once fit so easily no longer fits at all. What once comforted now chafes. The stories you used to tell yourself begin to crumble in your hands like pages too old to hold. The Cancer moon wraps its dark arms around your heart, and instead of giving you answers, it hands you sensation. Raw, unfiltered, sacred sensation. You may cry without knowing why. You may ache without a wound. You may long for a home you've never seen but remember in your bones. This is the inner disruption, not a breaking, but a reshaping, a sacred unbinding. You feel tired, beyond tired, a weariness that sleep cannot touch. This is not laziness. This is your soul excavating emotional fossils. You are not drained because you're weak. You are drained because you are healing at a depth your mind cannot comprehend. Your nervous system is unlearning the hypervigilance it was taught. The alertness of survival is being replaced with the softness of trust. And trust feels foreign, strange, unsafe even. That's okay. Jupiter's light, having passed through the furnace of the sun, now radiates inward. It exposes not just what you remember but what you've buried. The fears you inherited, the emotions you absorbed, the identities you built to keep from breaking. And yet, here you are, whole in your unraveling. You crave sweetness, softness. You return to a song you haven't heard since childhood, and it breaks something open. You taste a food your mother once made, and it tastes like both comfort and grief. You feel the texture of a blanket, and it feels like a past life. These cravings are not random. They are breadcrumbs on your path back to yourself. And suddenly, the familiar feels foreign. A friend says something casual, and it cuts deeper than it should. A silence between texts grows louder than any conversation. You question if you are being too sensitive, but you are not too sensitive. You are finely tuned. Your frequency is adjusting. You are feeling truth in real time now. You may find yourself alone, even when you're surrounded. This too is part of the unbinding. You are not being abandoned. You are being guided away from what no longer matches your vibration. This loneliness is not emptiness. It is sacred space being carved for something greater. It is the ache before the alignment, the silence before the knowing. And then, out of nowhere, a thought arrives. Electric, crisp, like a whisper laced with lightning. It may not make sense, but it resonates. That is Mercury brushing against Uranus. Insight that does not come from logic, but from soul memory. You are not thinking, you are remembering. The discomfort is sacred. You are not falling apart. You are coming apart from everything that kept you from your softness. Let yourself feel strange. Let yourself feel undone. You are not malfunctioning. You are upgrading. The circuitry of your soul is being rewired to recognize peace not as a danger, but as home. So yes, you may cry at the sight of an old photograph. Yes, you may stare out the window for hours and call it nothing. Yes, you may forget how to speak because your body is relearning how to listen. All of it is holy. All of it is the storm before the integration. You are not failing, you are unfurling, and the deeper you go into the stillness, the more symbols begin to rise. And the deeper you go into the stillness, the more symbols begin to rise. At first, they are subtle. A flicker in a dream. A shadow that looks like a shape you recognize but cannot name. Numbers repeating. Names echoing. A song that plays at just the right moment, its lyrics more than coincidence. A mirror, a message. You are not imagining it. You are beginning to see the symbolic language of the cosmos as it speaks through the veil. This isn't just a new moon, it is a divine rehearsal for rebirth. Cancer, guardian of the sacred womb, opens her gates not to birth something new from scratch, but to return you to what you always were. She is the ocean, the mother, the memory. She is the place you came from and the place you are trying to return to without knowing. And now, Jupiter's holy fire, tempered by the sun, ignites her waters from within. You are not being pushed forward. You are being folded into the deeper layers of time, into the parts of you that still believe in magic. This trinity of events, Sun Jupiter Cazimi, Cancer new moon, and Mercury sextile Uranus, is a triskelion in the sky. 3 spokes on a wheel that spins you into alignment. Past, present, future. All vibrating at once. What you once thought were memories begin to feel like premonitions. What you once dismissed as fantasy now hums with ancient knowing. You glance at the clock. 11:11. A street sign shows your birth date. You think of someone, and they message you. These are not accidents. These are alignments. The cosmos is not speaking in riddles. It is speaking in resonance. Every sign, every whisper, every strange pull in your chest, they are the echoes of your multidimensional self calling across timelines. You are not linear. You are not just here. You are elsewhere, else when. The veil is not something outside you. It is the part of you that is waking up. You find an old journal and open to a page that feels like prophecy. A dream from years ago suddenly makes sense. A memory replays, but this time it feels like a lesson. These are the fragments of your symbolic soul, returning to be remembered. And what stirs most profoundly now is the archetype of the inner mother, the one who was always meant to nourish you. Not the earthly one who may have failed, but the eternal one, the part of you that wraps your wounds in moonlight, the one who never left when the others did. She rises now, not as a character, but as a cosmic principle. She is you, the seer, the receiver, the womb of wisdom. This season calls forth your contract to her. You promised before you arrived here to remember, to speak the unsaid truths, to return to the child within you, not to fix them, but to listen. Because the stars are not distant. They are encoded in your spine, in your heartbeat, in your tears. You are not beneath them. You are made of them. And now they are beginning to activate your cellular memory. You remember being 5 years old and crying into a pillow, feeling forgotten. Now you cry again, not because you are broken, but because the memory needed release. That moment imprinted itself as a freeze in your nervous system. And now it thaws. It melts into the stream of your now self, not to haunt you, but to offer healing. You are unbraiding timelines. A lover you once lost returns in a dream. You see their eyes and feel peace, not longing. That was the closure. That was the loop closing. The contract completed. Or perhaps you feel the opposite. A new name emerges in your mind. Someone you've never met but feel drawn to. This is a soul marker, a magnetic preparation, a glimpse of a future meeting scripted in the ether long before your body knew it. You are not waiting for life to happen. You are watching it unfold through a series of symbols, each one a breadcrumb leading you home. The symbolic realm is not fantasy. It is the original language of your soul. It speaks in goosebumps that arrive without cause, shivers in silence, the urge to write a sentence that doesn't make sense, but later becomes truth. Synchronicity is not luck. It is spiritual orientation. And you, right now, are reorienting. You are receiving messages from the parts of you that live outside time. The dreamer you left behind, the child you silenced, the elder you have yet to become. They are all walking beside you now. Every flicker of insight, every tear, every burst of creative impulse is part of their conversation. So when you wake at 3:33 a.m. and feel the presence of something you can't explain, that's not emptiness, that's alignment. When you feel pulled to pick up a book, open to a page, and read the exact phrase you needed, that's not a trick, that's remembrance. The symbols are alive, and they are leading you to the message you've always needed to hear. The symbols are alive, and they are leading you to the message you've always needed to hear. Come home, not to a place or a person, but to a version of yourself that remembers, that still holds the softness, the wonder, the voice that was never too much and never not enough. Come home to the part of you that waited quietly in the wings while the world told you to shrink, the self that never asked you to perform, the one that never withheld love as a lesson. You are being called back, not backward, inward. This is not regression, this is return. Jupiter's fire, poured like golden wine into Cancer's chalice, creates more than warmth. It creates steam. This is emotional alchemy. What you are feeling now, the tears that come for no reason, the tremble in your chest, the sudden desire to be held without explanation, they are not symptoms of weakness. They are the soul loosening its armor. You do not need to be fixed. You need to be witnessed. You sit beside your own ache and say, I see you. I will not abandon you. That's it. That's the work. The repair begins when you stop running from the parts of you that were silenced, when you return to the self you left behind to survive. And in that act, you become the mother you always needed. Not the one who was there or wasn't. The one who sees through your skin into your becoming. The one who says, you are enough, even in your stillness. This is emotional resurrection. You are not lazy. You are restructuring. Your nervous system is learning how to feel safety without chaos, how to feel love without fear, how to hold joy without apology. That trembling under your skin is not instability. It is your internal compass recalibrating to peace. You wake, and something is different. The light doesn't hit the same. The world feels slightly hollow, not because it's broken, but because you are no longer filtering it through old grief. The veil has thinned, and you can feel what's missing not as a punishment, but as an invitation. You are no longer content with half-presence, half-truths, half-love. You crave realness now, the kind of truth that lives in your chest, not your mind, the kind of comfort that wraps around your shoulders like warmth, not words, the kind of love that does not ask you to be anything other than real. And so you slow down. You put your hand on your heart. You whisper, I am still here. And that's when you hear it back, the whisper beneath the noise, the soul song that never stopped humming. You are worthy of a life that doesn't feel like hiding. You are allowed to build a home inside your own skin, one that feels safe even in silence. You are allowed to say no to what drains you, even if it once saved you. You are allowed to grieve the people who couldn't love you as you needed and still walk forward with grace. There is no shame in softness. There is no shame in stillness. There is no shame in saying, this is what I need. This is not about becoming new. It is about becoming real. You don't need to know the destination. You only need to honor the feeling, the urge to rest, the need to cry, the hunger for something that nourishes you beyond logic. This is soul language, and it speaks in cravings, in dreams, in the way your body sighs when you tell the truth. You were never meant to perform your healing. You were meant to feel it. And right now, your inner child is peeking out from behind the scaffolding, wondering if it's safe to come forward, wondering if the adult you became can be trusted. Show them. Speak gently. Promise nothing except presence. Say, I won't leave you, even when you're messy, even when you're scared, even when you don't know what you want, and in that promise, healing takes root. This is your sanctuary now. this skin, this breath, this moment. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It only has to be true. Let yourself not know what comes next. Let the fog remain until it clears. Let the ache be holy. You are not meant to rush. You are meant to receive. So if today all you do is rest your palm over your heart and say, "I'm trying," then let that be your prayer. Let that be your ritual. You don't need to do more. You need to remember you are already enough. And from that sacred remembering, a new intention is born. And from that sacred remembering, a new intention is born. But this is not the kind of intention that demands action. This is not the checklist of the old world. This is not hustle. This is a whisper from the marrow, a breath-shaped vow. One you don't speak loudly, but feel humming beneath your skin. Because this is not a week to strive. This is a week to consecrate. The portal is open now. The Cancer new moon has softened the veil. The sun has poured divine clarity through the vessel of Jupiter, and Mercury has handed you keys of insight, quietly, like a friend placing a note in your palm when no one is looking. The work now is not to manifest, but to listen, to prepare your vessel, to hold the signal. So you begin. You light a candle, not to perform, but to warm the threshold between what was and what will be. You watch the flame and realize it does not try. It simply burns. You write a letter to your younger self, the version of you who waited by doors that never opened, who shrank to be loved, who thought silence was safer than truth. You do not offer advice, you offer presence. You say, "I'm here now. I see you. I'm not leaving." And maybe that's enough. You place your hand on your chest and speak to the home within you, the ribs that held so much, the lungs that carried sobs and songs. You whisper, "I am safe now." Maybe you take a childhood photo and set it near your bed. Maybe you whisper to it as you fall asleep, not as a stranger remembering, but as the soul returning. You say, "You were never wrong. You were just early." And as you do, the air shifts, not in a grand flash, but like dew forming on petals, quiet, inevitable, sacred. This is ritual, not the grand kind, not the ceremonial robes or incense smoke that curls through cathedrals. This is everyday divinity. Journals left open on kitchen counters, bare feet on cold floors, the way your spine straightens when you speak truth aloud. You take a bath, not just to cleanse the body, but to let the water remember you. You cry, not to release sorrow, but to let your nervous system speak. You sip tea and hold the cup like it knows something you don't. It does, because your body remembers. And now, the ritual is re-inhabiting the body. You walk outside at dusk, and the sky feels unfamiliar, as though it has changed languages. You don't need to interpret it. You only need to be present. You sit with a journal, not to write goals, but to let the pen wander. You let your handwriting become oracular. You read your own words back as if they came from another life. They did. Every word you channel now is from a self you buried under performance and pleasing. Let this be the season you speak truth without explanation. Let this be the season you do not apologize for your needs. Let this be the season you sing, even if no one is listening. And let your ritual be messy. Let it be yours. This portal is not a doorway to somewhere else. It is the opening into your center. So plant a seed, literally, if you can. Hold it in your palm and tell it what it carries. Tell it you believe in slow becoming. Press it into soil or tuck it into a book or keep it close until it tells you what to do. Write your intention on paper and place it in honey. Let it be sweetened by time. Speak a truth you have been holding too long, even if your voice shakes, especially if it does. Light a match and let something go. An identity, a belief, a name that no longer fits. Blow out the flame not in goodbye, but in gratitude, because the portal hears you, even when you whisper, even when you don't speak at all. You are not late, you are right on time. And in this moment, the final moment of this celestial corridor, you look to the sky not for signs, but for confirmation, and you feel it. The soft hush, the hum, the knowing. You don't need proof. You are the proof, and so it is. and so it unfolds. Let this portal close not with resistance, but with reverence. You made it through, and what you carry now, no one can take. May your next breath be sacred, may your next step be sovereign, and may the ritual never end, only deepen.